Hello, Phil Morse here from Seashore Trolley Museum in Kennebunkport. I'm going to read one of my favorite children's books today, and the title of it is Grandfather's Trolley, and it's by Bruce McMillan. And this book by Bruce was done by him coming to the Trolley Museum and taking photographs of the story. And the characters in the story, the motorman and the conductor, were volunteers at the Trolley Museum. And the trolley car used in it is one of the Trolley Museum cars. It's an open car from Connecticut. And the young girl in the story is a young girl at the time growing up in Maine, Allison. And in 2001, in August of 2001, the Trolley Museum was the host site for a summer reading event of the Southern Maine Library District, their summer reading program. And the Southern Maine Library District is made up of 70 different public libraries in Southern Maine. And all the summer readers for that summer of 2001 were invited to the Trolley Museum to celebrate their accomplishments of doing their summer reading. And Mrs. Barbara Bush, former First Lady Barbara Bush, was the guest reader, and the book she read at that event was Grandfather's Trolley by Bruce McMillan. And Bruce attended, Mrs. Bush, of course, was there to read, and we brought out a sister car that is in the book, and we had the people portrayed in the book actually there that day. And Mrs. Bush did a wonderful job, and so in this particular book, Mrs. Bush signed this book, and she signed here saying happy reading, because Mrs. Bush was an advocate for literacy for children in particular. So she would go around and encourage and help raise money and encourage young people to read. For years and years she did this. She was very well known for advocating and promoting literacy for children. And so she was happy to come to the Trolley Museum that day. And there were 2,300 people that attended this event. And so this book is signed by Richard Lane, who was the grandfather, and John Mazzai, who was the conductor, Bruce McMillan, the author, and Allison, who's the young girl. So I'm going to read Grandfather's Trolley by Bruce McMillan. And if you go to Bruce McMillan's website, on the left side, you can scroll down and it says Barbara Bush Reads. And if you click on that, the whole story of Mrs. Bush reading the story, how Bruce McMillan took black and white photographs to make the story, and then he colorized each of those. So everything in here was done through film photography, and then the colors were all enhanced or done by Mr. McMillan, and he talks about that process when you click on, go to his website and go to Barbara Bush Reads. The photographs are wonderful, and the story is wonderful. So, Grandfather Trolley by Bruce McMillan. I remember when I was a little girl, I used to visit my grandfather at work. I waited and listened for the trolley. Toot, toot! The trolley car rolled around the bend. Grandfather was the motorman. Hi, darling. Your seats are waiting. Hop up, aboard. I like to sit way in back. Grandfather always saved a seat in the last row, over the 8. So this is a bench seat, and the 8 is the first number of the trolley car, 838. So she loved sitting over the 8. It was just for her. Ding, ding, gong, gong. The trolley bells rang, and we started to move. I held on tight. I pretended I was motoring the trolley car, just like Grandfather. Clackety, 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 clack. The woods sped by. I leaned back and squinted to keep the breeze out of my eyes. The trolley car swayed from side to side. Clackety, 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 clack. I rocked with the car from side to side. Clackety, 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 clack. Do you know what that clackety sound is that you hear? It's the metal wheels going over the tracks on the trolley tracks. At the end of the line, Grandfather helped me down. Watch your step, darling. Don't go too near the water. Soon I heard him call, all ready for my #1 helper. This photograph was taken in Cape Porpoise, Kennebunkport. It's a familiar sight down there. I brought the power controls from one end of the car to the other, where Grandfather was waiting. Thank you, #1. The conductor adjusted the trolley poles, and the trolley car faced back the way we'd come. It was ready to go. Ding, ding, gong, gong. That's how the motorman and the conductor communicate that the car is safe to move forward. On the ride back, I sat up front next to Grandfather. Clackety, 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 clack. The wind blew hard. Grandfather called back to me, I hope your hair ribbon's on tight. And again, this is at the Trolley Museum. If you've been for a ride there, that's very familiar to you. At the stop before mine, Grandfather made room for me by the controls. Together, we motored the trolley car. Grandfather called out, full speed ahead. Clackety, 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 clack. The breeze blew by. We sped along, and then I saw my stop. Grandfather jumped off and held out his arms. Free ride down for my #1 helper. His whiskers tickled when I hugged him. I said, thank you, Grandfather. What a great picture. Before he started the trolley again, Grandfather watched me run home down the lane. I never had to look back to see if he was watching me. I just knew. He was my grandfather. And Bruce McMillan, his grandfather, actually was a motorman in Boston back in the turn of the 20th century. So he really likes trolleys, as do I. So Grandfather's Trolley by Bruce McMillan. Thank you for joining me. And be sure to check out the Trolley Museum's website. Come visit. And you can see 838 and its sister cars down there. So, thank you.